Welcome to video number 2 of our lockdown flexibility series. Much like video 1, you can do this like a follow along where you just do the video as I do it, or if you prefer, you can spend a bit more time on each of the individual moves, each of the individual stretches and mobilizations. Just watch a little bit, pause, take your time going through those particular movements. All you need today, soft surface to lie on and a chair, and that is pretty much all you'll need. So let's get going. What we're going to start off with is going to be a shoulder bar. What we're going to try and do, guys, is that position. We're going to try and tuck the hips, drop the ribs, and what we're trying to do is draw as big a circle as we possibly can. So not just hand out in front. What I want you to really aim for is actually try and push the hand really out and far in front. So really reach through each part of that motion and really try and make it as big a circle as possible. We're going to spend about a minute on each side. If you have one particular part of that motion, so for instance this front part, that's quite easy. Up here it's a little bit tighter, so I'm slowing down, spend a bit more time. Now as I reach, what I'm really trying to focus on is I'm trying to keep my body square. So what I'm not allowing myself to do is I'm not allowing myself to twist through the body, because that makes that twist so much easier. I want to actually slow things right down and make that reach come through the shoulder joint. After a minute, we're going to do the same thing on the other arm. So again, keeping those ribs down, try and make that circle as big as possible. Really reach so the fingertips stretch out in front, stretch up into the air and reach back. What you can do as well, if you want to make it a bit more of a challenge, is come right next to a wall, and that should actually then prevent you from reaching the arm out to the side. So there you can see that's probably a little bit too close for me, but again, this is all different levels. So that reach out in front, ribs tucked in, reach out in front, reach up into the air, reach back as far as you can. Good. Next one we're going to come into is that chair stretch. So hands, wrists, as much of the forearms onto the chair as you can. What I want to do is try and drop your chest down into that kind of position. I'm trying to open up the chest. Nice deep breathing. Much like we did yesterday, you should be able to breathe steadily throughout. If you find yourself holding your breath, try and just focus on that steady breathing. Now in that position, what I want to try and do is really try and open the chest up. So rather than just letting gravity do its thing, I want you to actively arch into it. So you're almost trying to push your chest towards the floor. This is good. So we're going to do a minute of each to begin with. And then I'm going to repeat. I'm just going to do just 30 seconds of each. So the last few seconds of this one, just really opening up through the spine, opening up the chest. Good. So again, starting again, that shoulder bar. So creating that stretch out in front, ribs down, reach through that movement as much as you can. So you're trying to make that as big a circle as possible. Imagine you are drawing a circle with your fingertips and you want to make that circle as big as you possibly can. Keeping the body square, so we're not actually having any rotation in here yet. This is good. So again, push the hands out in front. Good, there's 30 seconds. So again, same thing. Big stretch out in front, up into the air, huge big stretch. Reach back. That's the bit I find toughest. You can probably hear that in my voice. Stretch out in front, stretch up into the air, and stretch back. Good, coming up on 30 seconds there. So we're going to come back into that chair stretch again. There we go. So again, forearms on top, drop the head down in between, try to push back. Try to actively arch the back into this one. Dropping head and chest down towards the floor. And breathing steadily throughout. Breathing steadily throughout. So again, there we go. That's 30 seconds. That's our first cycle done. That's our first cycle done. So we're going to move on to the next one. It's got two. I'm going to spin around for this one. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because I've got my timer on this side. I'm going to move my chair. What we're going to look at this time is going to be a lounge chair stretch. So looking like an old school pin-up girl. So what we're actually going to try and do is plant the fingertips pointing behind. All we're going to try and do in that position is lift the chest up, and then to try and increase that stretch, we're just going to push the hips forward. And again, breathing steadily. Each time you breathe in, try and lift the chest and back into it. We're going to do this one for a minute, and then we're going to do some prone swims. So it's almost like you're doing the butterfly swim on dry land. This is one I'll personally find quite difficult as well, because I am not instructing this journey, I am on this journey with you guys. And coming up on that minute, so relax. So we can do this one. I'll do the first round kneeling, the second round I'll do on my belly. So what we're going to do is hands behind the back, squeeze the shoulders right back, like you're trying to squeeze a pencil between your shoulder blades, and then from there try and lift the hands off the back, try and keep them back as far as you can. Hands will rotate till the hands are overhead, and then back. In and relax. So squeeze back, hands off the back, keep them as far behind it as you can, allow them to rotate, bring them up, overhead and back in. Now remember, my timings won't exactly match a minute, so if you want to spend a bit of extra time in each position, that's fine. Again, back rotation. This takes us probably over the minute ever so slightly, but I'm just going to repeat that. We're going to do a minute both times on this one. Good. So we're going to do a minute both times on this one. So second round, we're back into that lounge chair stretch. So again, fingertips pointing behind, chest up, and then in that position, I want you to slide the hips forward. You can rest the head back, or you can rest the head, tuck the chin in, whichever you prefer. And each time you breathe in, you should feel that stretch on the pecs. Now again, you can make this more intense by sliding the hips even further forward. This is about as intense as my chest and my shoulders will allow right now. So again, trying to squeeze those shoulders back. Good, so again, going back into that swing. This time I'm going to do a prone, which is a slightly harder version. So again, start off hands behind the back. Going to try and squeeze that pencil between the shoulder blades, take the hands from the back. This time I'm trying to keep them off the floor as high as possible. Bring them right back and relax. So again, that squeeze. Try to keep those shoulders moving as far off the floor as possible. And again, there's many forgetting. Try and keep breathing through it. Relax. Squeeze, this will be my last one. And relax. Okay, so that is superset 2. Now we've got 3 exercises in the last section, but I'm going to change the angle of the camera because we need a door frame. So I'm just going to swap the camera around and we'll go through that. Okay, so we've managed to get the camera turned around. Like I said, all you need is a door frame. I'm going to use this pillar here because it's something sturdy that I can grab onto. But that's our third exercise, so we'll come to that. So exercise number 1 in this here is going to be an elbow rotation. Now what we want is for this rotation to come from the middle and upper back and shoulders rather than around the hips. So we're actually going to sit our weight back. That should fix the hips in position and make sure that rotation comes from higher up the spine and upper back. So 1 minute per side, hand goes onto back of the head, and all we're going to aim to do is bring elbow just beside your thumb and then elbow up to the ceiling. So trying to really open up as much as we can, just that smooth pace each time, and that rotation. Just 1 minute per side. We're not trying to rush. What you should feel is that nice twist through the upper back. If you struggle to sit back into it, you can still do it from a forward position. It's fine. So you can still come from this position. You just have to really focus on making sure that movement doesn't come from the hips. Just trying to really an extra bit of focus to make sure they stay on one side. So again, elbow to the thumb and then up to the ceiling. So we're coming up to 1 minute. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So hand to the thumb, or elbow to the thumb, sorry, and then elbow up into the air. Elbow to thumb, up into the air. Nice big rotation each time. Really trying to open up. Don't force the movement. Should be able to breathe quite comfortably all the way through. If you do forget every now and again, that's fine. You'll notice I did it on the previous exercise, the swimming exercise. So I definitely feel a little bit more open on this side than I did on the other. So you may find you do have little differences here and there. And again, just really focusing on the movement coming from the middle and upper back. Good. Coming up on that minute. So we're going to move into exercise number 2, which is going to be our diagonal stretch. So you're going to be on one knee and 1 foot. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get my left hand to touch my right heel. Now I'm not going to come down in this way. I'm actually going to try and arch my back into it and try and come into that position. So you can see I'm trying to create that diagonal. And again, nice deep breaths in that position. Where we got time-wise, go. So then I'll do the next one. I'll be rotating towards the camera. So again, that's good. So we're going to swap feet. This time I'm going to twist the other way. So this time it becomes right hand towards my left heel. And again, I'm not rolling down into it. I'm actually going to try and almost arch my back a little bit into it. So it's that twist across, creating that diagonal. Again, you can sink into it. You can see I've just about got my fingertips to it. And if you can sink further into it and actually rest your weight through your heel, just about, you can do so. Now again, if any of these are painful, ease off, make them easier, as long as you're leaning in that direction. So if you can't quite reach, even that action of reaching down towards it will start you off on that journey. Good, we're coming up on that minute, so we're into our last exercise, which is going to be where you need the door frame, or in my case this pillar. What I'm going to look to do, so I've got my left side nearest the wall, so I'm going to grab this pillar with my left hand, thumb down. From there, I'm going to try and sit my weight back. I'm going to try and twist towards the wall. So what I'm actually really aiming to do is lengthen down one side of my back. Now this one, because I can't face the timer, I'm just going to take 10 steady breaths. I reckon that'll be roughly a minute, give or take. Now you can play around with different positions, but you should feel that stretch coming down one side of the body. And the key is you're really trying to sit your weight back into it. So throughout, you're trying to sit your weight back, as if I'm trying to touch the wall behind me. Good, I think that's roughly a minute. So we've got to do the same thing, but this time we'll have to pivot round. So I'll have to do the other way. So again, this time right hand, thumb down, grab the wall, and again, try and twist. This time for me towards the door. I really hope nobody walks in this door this time. But again, the stretch, the mobilization comes from me pushing my hips back, pushing my weight back. Again, play about with that position. Again, I'm just doing 10 steady breaths. So I think that'll be roughly a minute. Good. So we come back through. I wasn't too far off. We come back through. We're going to come into that rotation. We're going to do the up position this time. We're just going to do 30 seconds per side. So that rotation in and open up. Good, and then switch sides, same thing on the other side. Now, if you need to go a bit slower, if you want to spend a bit more time, you can do so. Just hit pause, or watch the video through a second time. Good, there's that there. So we're coming into our diagonal stretch. So again, this time leaning back, trying to get opposite hand to heel. So I'm creating that diagonal through the body, trying to arch my back a little bit into it. Hopefully this one will improve for me. So I'm also getting a bit of hip flexor stretch here as well. And switch sides. So again, twist back. Create that. Again, you can just have a hand extended. You can bring it down just across your body. So that twist and slight arch through the spine is the important part of this one. And then we finish off with a lat stretch again. So like I said, just the doorway, play about with that position as much as you feel you need. Thumb down, grab on, sit the weight back and try and twist your body towards. Now use your elbow against the legs, something to brace against. It's a good thing I'm not afraid of spiders, because I don't know if you guys can see in the video the size of that guy back there. And then same thing on the other side. So again, thumb down, grab the pillar, grab the door frame, grab whatever you've got sturdy, make sure it's not going to fall over. sit the weight back and twist into it. Remember, sitting your weight back into that move throughout what you're aiming to do. And there you have it, job done. So that is session number 2 done. You can do this, like I said, as often as you want. If you want to spend an hour every day working on your mobility, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record these videos, and that's probably it for me each week. That's what I'm going to be working on that's probably the extent of my work. I might get a little bit extra squeezed in here or there, but the key thing for me is just to do it little and often rather than do it lots and lots and lots over the next 4 weeks. As always guys, like and subscribe. If you have any questions, any queries, anything along those lines, leave a message in the comments below. But other than that, this is Neil signing off.